Hi everyone, I'm Carol Gabel, your host of Women in Business, where every week I get the opportunity to introduce you to some wonderful women in business. These are not women, however, that are climbing ladders, nor are they breaking ceilings. They are, however, smashing barriers to their success and paving the way to inspire all of you. So thanks for joining me, and thank you to my guest, Chaya Pamula. She is the president and CEO of PamTen. Welcome, my friend.
Thank you, Carol. So nice to be with you.
It's wonderful to be with you, as always.
Yes.
So I know a lot about you. I know about the great work that you've done, that you continue to do. But I get the opportunity today to toot your horn a little bit and share it with all of the audience. So before we get into what you're doing right now and some of your future plans, I thought we'd start with who inspired you to be the woman that you are, that inspires all women in business, right? So what happened years ago? Like, what were some of the, who were the influencers and what were some of the circumstances?
Well, I never thought that I would be at this place. That was not part of the game plan. But when you ask me about inspiration, I would always take it back to my parents, especially my mom. I always looked up to her, and my mom wasn't a highly educated woman. She was educated until high school, and then she had to take care of her siblings because her mom passed away when she was a kid. And then she got married into a huge family, my father's family, where there were 16 siblings of my father. And,
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I didn't know. See, I found out something.
Yeah, we should have been in Guinness Book, though. But she took a big responsibility as the eldest daughter-in-law in the family. So even though she wasn't educated, but I could see that subtle leadership quality in her. She could get all the reins together and really be able to run the family. And the way she managed the finances and the way she was able to manage the expectations of the family and still being able to have a great social profile. That's something really attracted me, and she was a great mentor for me as a kid. I learned a lot of different things, how to be really humble and rooted to the ground, and at the same time being very, very, showing the empathy towards others and being able to share. Living in a big community like family, the first thing we learned was how to share.
Of course.
So we would share everything, literally everything. We never had our own beds. We would sleep on the floor. So it's really the brought up that, and then looking at my mom and how she managed things. And my dad, who always is extremely smart, like same with my mom, but he was such a hard worker. I mean, everybody respected him at his work. And I even remember the days where people always kind of looked up to him and adored him, and some people really admired his qualities. So he always worshipped work. I don't remember him going to temples, and he never went to temples. Where my mother was completely opposite. She would pray to God every day. She would sit in front of the altar and offer her prayers. So both were different, but I think I learned different qualities from each of them. And more than that, I believe you can't do everything all alone. So with everything that I've done in my life, at every stage of my life, I've looked up to different people. And the way I have seen is every situation I'm in, I always have somebody in my mind at the time. If it were them, how would they address that situation? So if you ask me, my mentors and people who have helped me, my role models, I've started to read books and also listen to the videos. And those days we didn't have mentors or people who would counsel you to what career to take and what to do in life. And according to our Indian family tradition, a girl needs to, once she finishes her graduation, undergrad actually, ready to be married. So it's not so much of career coaching that goes in there. So it was more of a self-push from my side. The biggest reason I did was because I gave a promise to my mom. She took a promise from me before she left this world that I would be really independent, because she was a homemaker after my dad was passed away, and she was all alone. She felt that she could have been a little more educated and be able to manage things. So she always believed in women being independent, and she really took that promise from me. So that stayed with me, and I constantly pushed myself. And I must tell you, in order for someone to be successful, you really need a strong support system.
Oh,
and I'm
goodness,
so
yes.
fortunate to have a family that supports me. Even prior to my marriage, everything that I asked, even though, I was almost like, I need this. So even though people felt that, you don't need to get educated further, you just get married, I still found my ways to navigate through the system and to find, some independency and be able to educate myself. But I would say, each thing that I do in my life, I have definitely role models, whether it's business or it's social work or anything new things that I start bringing into my life. Go back to the children that I work with, they are my inspiration too. From my foundation, these children taught me how to, look at an opportunity. They would not leave a single opportunity. A lot of things we take them for granted in life, but they taught me how to really look at things from a brighter side and be more optimistic about life, and still be happy with little things in life,
right.
Not having to aspire for big things. So
right.
I would say I'm so fortunate with everything that I get exposed to in a day. I learn from every moment of my experience.
That's great. So I think your roots, looking at your mom, being more spiritual, and your dad having a great work ethic, they instilled those values in you. And to this day, I think you have a great symbiotic relationship with your spirituality and your work
Sure.
ethic. So I think, they were great first role models. But then as you went along, you became involved in pharmaceutical, right? That was your background, Bristol Myers Squibb, right?
Right, yeah.
So that's an unusual field as well, So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I was curious about learning computers, and this was around the time my family wanted me to get married after my undergrad, and I really wanted to join a computer programming course, and those days it was a little expensive, and the family felt that it's probably not needed and didn't want to spend that kind of money. So I did my postgraduate program. And half the way I was like, I'm not going to do this anymore. I somehow was so stuck up on doing some computer course. So that was the time, around that time I got married, and I told my husband that, I want to do something, I want to learn and educate it. And if you give me that freedom, I would be very happy. So I'm so fortunate. Married for 33 years, it still gives me that support.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so yeah. I did my computer programming course after I got married. And then I also did my MBA when my daughter was 1.5 years old. So
MBA, 1.5 years old.
Yes, and living in a joint family. So it was a bit challenging, but I think I was very determined to do these kind of things. And after I did my computer programming, I really developed a lot of interest in computers, because it's always like sitting in front of a computer, writing a program, seeing the output. I think for me, what made a big difference was being able to bring something out of it.
Right.
I think the output was an interesting thing for me. Those days, I didn't know anything about STEM. I didn't even hear the word STEM when I was in school.
Who knew what that was? Right. Like part of a flower, right?
Right.
Nobody knew what it was.
Exactly. What do you mean by STEM?
And then try STEAM.
Yeah.
What's that, right?
So that's how I got interested in computers. Then I worked in India, and that's when actually I met my business partner, Prasad Anjala. We used to work together, and that kind of evolved into a friendship. And around that time, I got another opportunity in India to move to New Delhi. So I moved along with my husband.
Okay.
Actually, I followed him. Every time he found a new job, I followed my husband and found another job.
That's not an easy task either.
It's not an easy task.
The moving and then,
Yeah, but we both believe in that law of attraction, right?
We do,
so
yes.
We can speak for hours, but that's something that acted in my life. I mean, that's what really worked for me. I always, looked at a building, I want to work in that company.
You
I'll find a
manifest it.
job. I
Yeah, you
manifest it.
manifest it.
So that's how I worked there, and then we got the opportunity to move to United States. So we both moved here, and then I joined Bristol Myers Squibb, which is a pharmaceutical company. Almost 15 years. That was a journey
Wow.
with them.
So then from there, though, it got a little magical, right?
Yes. So I think what I love about this country is the amount of opportunities. I wasn't exposed to those many opportunities when I was back in India. One, because of my family situation, but two, as women, we don't really get that kind of awareness or exposure to opportunities. So when I came to this country, there was a lot more independency for me, and there's a lot more opportunities around me. I just felt like there's no limitation. I don't have to limit myself. There is so much out there. I can go for it. So that's how I started to kind of open up and look for opportunities around me. And that was a time it just really hit me really hard that I have this sole ambition of helping children. Because I lost my parents at an early age. I was a teenager. It's the most critical
Horrible.
phase of life.
It is, it's terrible.
Yeah, you want someone to be really close to you, be able to, express yourself, share.
Guide you.
And guide you, especially. And that whole security. I felt a little bit empty and being lost and insecure in my teenage. I look back in my teenage, I'm like, I was not at all confident. I was very naive. And so I always grew up with the ambition to help underprivileged children, especially children who don't have the kind of support I had.
Right.
So once I went there and I came to Bristol Myers Squibb, that was the time when I was settling down. I said, I need to do something.
So I'm going to stop you right there, because that's the most magical part of this whole interview. And when we come back, we're going to talk about what happened. So stay tuned. A quick 15 minutes.
Shelter dogs aren't broken.
Everyone, as I said, this is the magical part. So I have had the distinct privilege of being in India at SOFKIN, where these amazing children are, and you are like the grandmama of all of them. And it is just such an amazing thing to witness. So talk about SOFKIN.
Yeah, so when I was in Bristol Myers Squibb, I got a kick, and in their call they say, just go and do. You've been thinking about it. So that's when I went to India. I actually resigned my job, and I went to India to look at the organizations that do similar work to start. And I came across a wonderful organization called Maher in Pune in India. And I adopted that model where I've seen the children extremely happy, and that's what I wanted to see. And the uniqueness I wanted to bring is, apart from providing basic amenities to these children, like education, medical help, and basic clothing, food, and shelter, I wanted to give them a lot more care and nurture and give a family atmosphere so they feel a lot more secure, and also the hidden talent kind of starts to surface. And that was the whole idea of SOFKIN. That's how we created. So we have these. So I established SOFKIN in 2006 and started with 3 children. Now SOFKIN is supporting 100+ children. And these children, we bring them into like small homes. So there are 15 to 20 children in each home. And the caretakers are also the women that we bring from the streets. These women who do not have a support in the family, and we bring them, provide them shelter, and give them rehab, medical attention, everything through our partner organization, Maher. And we give them these caretaker positions. And some of them get trained, and they even join our administrative staff. They get paid, and they feel self-sustained.
That's just amazing.
Yeah.
So, we talked in the beginning about inspiration, and, with women in business. Sister Lucy was, your inspiration,
She's
right?
one of my role models, especially in this work, and she's almost like Mother Teresa to me. And you met her.
I have.
So looking at Sister Lucy, and I feel that what I'm doing is very little, but there is so much that I learned from her, from her leadership especially. And having a nonprofit and for-profit, having different types of leadership styles, that was an amazing thing that I learned throughout this journey.
That's crazy. Most people, a nonprofit is hard enough, but you have a for-profit, PamTen, and all the time you're asked, PamTen, where does that come from? And what does that mean?
It's funny you asked that question because many people asked us. In fact, we use that as an icebreaker. When people hear about our company, like, what do you mean by PamTen? So when we wanted to name the company, me and Prasad, we felt, let's make it easy. We'll combine our last names. So my last name is Pamula and his last name is Tenjarla, so we made it as PamTen.
I love it. It's great. And let's talk about PamTen. So it is difficult juggling nonprofit, for-profit, but you're very creative. I know the whole company has creative minds, and you're solution providers, which I just love about your company. So talk a little bit about PamTen and some of the services, that you're in love with and that, you have a passion for.
Yeah, sure. PamTen, specifically, we started off developing websites for small businesses, but we evolved into providing more complex custom software solutions to our clients. And we also offer staffing solutions, staff augmentation, and we moved into even offering some software products because we have the capacity of having resources working on different client projects. At the same time, we also have a solutions development center. We have 2 development centers in India, and we have presence in New Jersey, New York, and Toronto, Canada. So we are about 180 employees. We've grown in the last 12 years. Organically, but the services that we provide and the capacity and the capabilities we have in our resources enabled us to start focusing on some product development. So we have a few products, but I would like to name one product which is my favorite. It's Connect Pro Global.
Which I love as well.
You know about it as well. So I used to be very shy about networking, so this really triggered this thought about why don't we have a platform that will allow people to kind of know each other and build that relationship, and it's almost like an icebreaker before you go to a networking event. And I had trouble talking to strangers or people that I didn't know. So this platform helps everybody to kind of network, collaborate, and there's a member management, event management. There's also matchmaking. So it tells Carol, you have these interests, you have professional skills. These are the people that match your skills. You may want to talk to them, starts giving you some suggestions. So there are a lot of other features like job board. You can place job requirements. So with this platform now we are able to offer this to chambers, associations. Some NGOs are using it. Girl Scouts Greater New York City is using it. So we're very excited, and we have a long roadmap for the product. We're excited to include some AI features in future as well. So it's a wonderful product that we are able to really cherish the growth of the product along with that. Yeah,
it's a nice baby.
Yes, it's a baby. Yeah.
But there's another product that you're really excited about as well. So SheTek, right?
Yes, SheTek is an initiative of PamTen, primarily because as a company, when we are growing, we open up positions, and it was very hard to see women applying for those positions. So I could see only few resumes coming from women, mostly from men. And it created some, curiosity to see what's happening in the industry, why not many women are applying. I thought it's only me who doesn't know what is STEM and, not having enough guidance. I took on this career late in my life, but it's the same problem everywhere. Yeah. So I realized a lot of women are not coming forward to take on STEM related programs or taking those career options. So that's where we felt that there's a large need to create that workforce and create that pipeline of talented women in technology. So that's how we created SheTek. So the objectives of SheTek are primarily to prepare women more job preparedness, to give them to corporates, and even corporates have their internal goals and objectives around diversity and gender equality.
Right.
So to help them meet their goals, we thought that the best thing we could do is to fill the pipeline of these women with their talent. So we're working with, we can't do it all alone. So we are partnering with universities, corporations, and we're also trying to create a community. We just talked about Connect Pro platform, so we're using the same platform to create SheTek community, where all these people can be part of that community. So we understand each other's requirements, and it's much more easier to get to those resources that you need and to fill those positions. So the community is getting created, and we're very excited. We have a cybersecurity workshop coming up for women business owners. Because most women are also intimidated by technology.
Right.
While we are trying to prepare the workforce, we also felt there is a need to help women business owners to kind of remove that barrier of that intimidation with technology.
Yeah.
So we could train them and tell them to upgrade their skills, and also help them with these services.
Yeah, we often think it's generational. Certain generations did not grow up with computers, right? But I think the younger women also perhaps aren't choosing this direction from what I'm hearing from you, right?
Yeah, because you see up to high school, the schools are promoting STEM programs and everything. But as you rightly said, there are no moms at home or people at home to tell you, hey, go and take up that program, because there is no guidance or career counseling at home or around you. So until we bridge that gap, I think it's going to be a challenge.
Yeah. Well, I think our audience would really love to know more about SheTek and about what you're working on. So I would love for you to let the audience know where they could find you, SheTek, PamTen as well. If you can give them information as far as the website and the phone number, that would be great, so they could take advantage of it.
Sure. So PamTen, it is PamTen, PamTen.com. And you can reach us at contact@pamten.com. And SheTek website is SheTek, SHETEK. It's not CH, SHETEK.net. So you will know a lot of information about SheTek. And there is an option for you to join the community. And I welcome all the women listeners to please join the community. By the way, we are inclusive of men too. So if you are interested in helping and supporting women, please do register on SheTek.net.
Excellent. That's just great. And before we say goodbye, let the audience know, give them an inspirational thought, as far as your journey, and for those that are thinking, I can't do this, I can't do that. You mentioned before about America, allowing you so many opportunities. Just some final words for some women that have, some fears about opportunity.
Sure. I think in my case, in my experience, not having the knowledge was like a blessing in disguise. I was, sometimes too naive to make those bold steps, and
Right.
realizing the challenges around it and having to deal with them at a later point. And if you ask me, my advice would be, we fear about so many things and we limit ourselves. It's important to believe in ourselves and then make that one simple first bold step. The moment we take that step, a lot of things open up. And I feel you know
like
it very
dancing.
well, right? So you believe in yourself and you ask for it, the universe will respond to you. And that's exactly what's been happening to me. And I advise everyone to do the same, believe in themselves.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Carol.
Keep twinkling.
Sure.
And thanks to all of you for joining me on Women in Business. It's my pleasure. And I look forward to seeing you again next Friday. So till then, have a great weekend.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.